ready with me while I tell you how I became an alcoholic. I don't love the word alcoholic. So what is an alcoholic? It's somebody who cannot control their drinking. So what we call it now is alcohol use disorder. I'm going to tell you how I knew I had alcohol use disorder. So the first time I ever drank, I was like 14 or 15. It was after a high school graduation, and I grew up in the country. I live in a small town in the South, and the way the kids used to drink was we would go to these abandoned fields out in the middle of nowhere, and there would be tons of cars just kind of circled up. Sometimes there would be like a cooler, and we would just drink. So I went to this party. I was with my boyfriend, my best friend, my best friend's boyfriend, and we drove and drove and drove down this long country road. We pulled up to this field. All these cars were out there. There was like music playing. There was like a little house at this place, and they had a concoction called PJ. I didn't exactly know what that was, but I found out that it's like Everclear and Hawaiian Punch and fruit. And they soak the fruit like in a cooler or bathtub even for a couple of days so that the fruit sucks all the alcohol up. And my boyfriend, like, I was kind of a shy girl, and I remember my boyfriend like scooped me up some PJ and he gave it to me, and he was like, all right girl, he was like, be easy, you're not much of a drinker, you're just a little tiny thing, we don't want you getting drunk. He was being sweet. I was like, yeah, okay, yeah. He said, whatever you do, don't eat the fruit. And I was like, oh gosh, like what's in the fruit? And so I remember, like, I think I had tasted beer before, and beer is gross, at least to my 14, 15-year-old palate. And I remember tasting this drink, and it was Hawaiian Punch, which is delicious. I don't even know if they still make it, but you could put like motor oil in Hawaiian Punch and it would be delicious. So I remember like being pleasantly surprised that it tasted good. Or like all of a sudden my shoulders dropped and my hands weren't like all clenched up, not knowing where to put them. Like all of a sudden I just felt relaxed. And like as it went down and kind of came through my system, I started like laughing more and enjoying the music more, enjoying my boyfriend more. Like I'd never felt completely comfortable in my own skin until that moment. And it felt so good to just be normal, just like everybody else. Like that's all I had wanted my whole life, was just to feel like I fit in, just to feel normal. And that night, like I remember dancing with my boyfriend, which I never did. I was flirting with him, and he was like, let's get this girl another drink. And not really, he was a really nice guy. And I got drunk, and I woke up the next day, and all of my friends were hungover. Like they were all just like miserable, headaches, like nauseous. Not me though. I never had a hangover. And like my whole drinking career, I never got a hangover. Like that just wasn't part of my story. And I felt like, oh my gosh, I'm really good at drinking. Like I didn't have a whole lot of hobbies and stuff, so I didn't really excel at anything. I wasn't really good at like sports or playing an instrument or math. Like I wasn't really good at anything, but I was really good at drinking. And I remember being able to like drink grown men under the table and feeling quite proud of that, like ha ha ha. And plus people celebrated that. People were like, yo, that little one right there, she will drink you under the table shot for shot. And like that gave me pride. Like I was being recognized for something. I started drinking. And when you're 14 or 15 years old, it's not exactly easy to obtain alcohol. And I remember going to liquor stores, and I would wait outside the liquor store for somebody to come in who looked cool. Like if somebody was walking in the liquor store and they looked like they were cool, like they would buy me alcohol, I would ask them to buy me a bottle. And you'd be surprised at how many grown adults are willing to buy a 15-year-old girl liquor. I always got Crown Royal because I liked the little purple bag. So I was spending my allowance on Crown Royal so that I could have the little purple bag and also have a bottle. Like my friends and stuff, they drank on the weekend. They would drink like Boone's Farm, and the guys would drink Bud Light, you know. But me, like, I wanted to have a bottle, and it wasn't for getting drunk necessarily. I just like to have it, like, just in case. Like, what if, something really bad happens? I need to have that bottle in my sock drawer. And, like, what if something really good happens and I need to celebrate? Or what if it's Tuesday and it rains? I need to have something, like any excuse. I don't think I developed like a full-blown alcohol use disorder until I got to college. They could drink in college. I mean, they could really drink. Drugs is also part of my story, and I don't want to go into all that since this is just about how I found out I had alcohol use disorder. So to make a long story short, this is what happened. So I did start using substances, and the substances went from like just recreational to every day have to have it. Like I was using opiates and eventually heroin, and my life just spiraled. And I remember thinking, like, if I can just give up the heroin and like the other drugs, if I can just give that up and just drink, then I'll be fine. Like tons of people just drink and they're fine. So I was like, okay, that's my plan. So eventually I did. I gave up the other drugs and I just drank. But what happened was that for me, it was like an itch inside of me that I just couldn't scratch without substances, without some kind of pill or a drink. And when I gave myself the only option was to have alcohol, I started drinking around the clock. Like literally, I got addicted, physically addicted to alcohol. And when I didn't have it, I would shake. I would literally get the shakes. I stopped eating because in my mind, I was like, food will soak up the alcohol and there's only a limited amount, so I need the most bang that I can get for my buck. People would try to get me to eat, and I also got really, really depressed around this time. Like, I had harmful thoughts and I did harmful things. It was gonna get worse before it got better, and it did. It really did. I think the best way that I can describe alcohol use disorder, like if you're diagnosing yourself, is to say, if you have ever experienced a negative consequence from drinking, like if you have ever had something bad happen, like maybe a boyfriend, girlfriend break up with you because of your drinking, or if you've ever lost a job or gotten a DUI, but then you continued to drink, that's how you might know that you have alcohol use disorder. So I definitely had plenty of bad things happen to me, plenty of consequences. Near the end of my drinking, this is what it looked like. I would take a sip of alcohol and black out. Like when I first started drinking really heavily, I could drink a good bit, like a handle, and I would black out. But towards the end, my liver was in such disrepair, it was so sick that I only had to take a few swigs out of a bottle and I would immediately black out. And I would do the stupidest things in blackouts. Like I wish I was just like more relaxed and had just chilled, but I would like steal cars and stuff. It's a wonder I didn't get a DUI. I did actually wreck a car once, and it was like I wrecked into a ditch and I just abandoned the car and ran, and that's probably the only reason I didn't get a DUI. I drank around the clock, and anytime I didn't have alcohol, I shook. And when I decided to quit drinking, it was miserable. Like I was super sick. I've come off of every drug, and coming off of alcohol was the worst. Like the physical withdrawals was worse than heroin. I don't say that to scare you, but if you are going to be in that position, you need to be under the care of a physician, like for real. You need to go like to an inpatient facility to detox off alcohol. It could actually kill you. So it was miserable, but I got out of detox and decided that I could have wine. Like everybody drinks wine. Like I wasn't gonna drink vodka, but I could drink wine. Except for I'm not a wine drinker. All right, so I go into the grocery store and I like go into the wine section, have no idea what to buy. You know, like, I don't know anything about this. I end up buying this bottle. It's like $10. I get it out to the car and it's got a cork in it. And I don't have a freaking way to get that cork out of that wine bottle. And I am in my car, like, taking my keys and like chipping away at the cork, like trying to get this wine, which, hello, I had such a craving for alcohol. It was unbelievable. So I finally like chipped it away enough and then pushed the cork down into the bottle, and instead of like pouring it into a cup like normal people do, and usually they get home too and like have it with a meal, not me. I'm in my car chugging this huge bottle of wine. I sucked the whole thing down. It wasn't enough, and I went straight to the liquor store and got vodka. And I didn't quit drinking until I was sentenced to 5 years in prison for an armed robbery that I committed while in a blackout. While I was in prison, I heard them make an announcement talking about 12-step meetings, and they were saying like this certain 12-step meeting was being held, and if anybody wanted to attend they could. And I thought, okay, like maybe I need to do that. And so I did. I went to this 12-step meeting, and this lady came in, and she was like super pretty. Like, she had on like a nice outfit, her nails were painted, she had on high heel shoes, she's clickety clacking. She had just gotten off work, and she was a member of this 12-step program coming to the prison to share her experience, strength, and hope with us. And she started talking, and I could not believe the things that she was saying. Like, she was talking like she knew what it felt like to shake in the morning. And she was talking about knowing about blackouts, and she looked and smelled so lovely. And I had a hard time saying, like, how did that woman experience the same thing I did? But because we're so different. Well, we weren't so different. That really attracted me to the 12-step program, and that's what I pursued as my pathway to recovery. And I know 12-step is not for everybody, but it really worked for me. It gave me a community to kind of surround myself with new people. It gave me kind of a process. Like, I've always loved instructions where you can just follow 1, 2, 3 and then like have a cake, you know? So it gave me like instructions on how to kind of clean up my life and find a new way to live. And I have been sober 6,645 days today. So that's over 18 years. And I do it one day at a time. And I still go to those 12-step meetings. I love them. And somebody said to me the other day, they were like, Amanda, you're 18 years sober. Why are you still going to these meetings? Like, do you still have cravings? And number one, I am just as close to a drink as anybody else. It doesn't matter how much time I have. I have to stay vigilant and like reminding myself that I can't drink like a normal person, because that's what the disease of addiction does. It's the only disease that tries to convince you that you don't have a disease, which is wild. So I go to remember, and then the other major reason I go is because I need to be there for when a brand new girl comes in and she is still shaking and she is worried that she's drinking too much. Like, there needs to be somebody there who's sober enough that can take her by the hand and help her find the freedom that I have found. So that's my story. Now I work as a peer support specialist. I work in a treatment center that I actually was a patient at, which is funny. And I've got my own cute little office, as you can see. And I'm on my lunch break right now, fixing my makeup. And anyway, I just wanted to share that with you guys. I hope that you have an excellent day.